14 WILI and 95.3 FM presents Hometown Threads, a closer look at our community and the people that make it go. Every week, you'll hear uplifting stories from our local businesses and our neighbors. Now, here's our host for Hometown Threads, Keith C. Rice.
Hey, Keith C. Rice back in here for episode 64 of Hometown Threads on 14 WILI and 95.3 FM and Willam Mantic Today Facebook. Also, WILI Radio YouTube channel. Feel free to subscribe. It's not WILI, it's WILI Radio. And not only can you view Hometown Threads, all our wonderful talk shows. Again, the WILI Radio YouTube channel. Also, on if you still have cable, Spectrum 192. You can check it out there. And, of course, on the radio, every Tuesday, 5:05 to 5:30 on 1400 AM, 95.3 FM, WILI. Hometown Threads brought to you by Liberty Bank. Be community kind with 3 great local locations right across the street from the radio station at 679 Main Street, Willam Mantic. West Main Street, Gateway Commons, managed by my lovely wife, Mary Ann. And Route 195, Mansfield, Liberty Bank. Be community kind. And, of course, excuse me, the podcast is available at WILI.com. A lot of people like to spend time at WILI.com. You can check out all the Hometown Threads podcasts brought to you by Triple E Pro Clean Services. So it's a pleasure to welcome in. He's like the man of the hour out here. He's like the toast of the town for episode 64 of Hometown Threads, JoJo Gonzalez.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for being here. You're a tough man to track down. I've been following you. It was the first time we met face to face, and I don't even know where to begin. Let's explain what this belt is all about for people who. I'm sure there's not that many. I'm sure everyone knows who this guy is. But for some people who are a little unfamiliar, I can't see why they wouldn't be familiar with this guy. You are a
amateur champ.
He's an amateur champ now. You almost said amateur. No one said that. Tell us what the belt is and how it all came about, and then we'll get into your story and tell us about JoJo.
October of last year, I had a fight at Foxwoods. It was my 3rd fight. I won by unanimous, and then I started getting in touch with one of my managers, Prime Athletics. Shout out to him. He's done a tremendous amount.
What's his name?
Sean Rockwell.
Okay.
He's done so much for me, getting me fights and stuff like that, and making sure that I don't have to handle all the paperwork, all the extras, stuff that we have to do. So he started looking around, and reality is right in the hometown. It's not so far away from here. It's like 30-40 minute drive. Mohegan, they had a title fight offered. Yeah, originally it was with another opponent, but he had pulled out. And then my other opponent, who I just fought, he decided to take the fight. It was 155. I wouldn't be fighting at pro level. I'll probably go down to 145. But it just kind of was like, we'll take it, and then we just trained 2-3 months for it. And
okay, so that was your first ever title fight, correct?
Yeah,
at that level.
Yes.
And had to fit your weight class, and this all came down at the last second. So we're going to get into your whole story in just a sec, but when it comes, so I'm still learning about this as well. I'm a huge sports fan, but we were talking about this when the mics and the cameras were off. I'm not familiar with boxing and UFC, and you were teaching me a lot about that. So it had to be within your weight class, and then they say, okay, you have 2 or 3 months to get ready for it?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of, it all differs. Like, sometimes you could get, they can offer you a fight, and it could be 3 weeks. Sometimes
really?
They can offer you a fight. It could be 2 weeks. I think...
so you got to be ready.
Yeah, you literally have to be ready. I think my 3rd fight, it was on short notice. It was I think I had a month.
Really?
Yeah, a little less than.
So I'm getting right into this already. Willam Mantic guy right here, and we'll get this whole story in a second, but I got to know how many fights till you got this title fight again? How long have you been at how many fights within this amateur level have you done before you had the title fight about a week or 2 ago?
I had 3 prior.
3. So when they said this is a title fight, your manager comes to you, okay, we got a title fight.
Yeah.
Did you get butterflies? You get a little nervous?
I was a little nervous. I mean, it's starting to take off a lot faster than I thought it was going to take off. It's just because it's just a new sport for me. I mean, I've only been doing it for 2 years. Okay,
now this is good. Now we backtrack here. Okay, so you grew up in Willam Mantic.
Yeah.
How old are you now?
24.
Okay, 24. You started out, let's see, you went through did you go to, was it Kramer when you were going to middle school?
Kramer, no, I actually went to Wyndham Middle School.
Wyndham Middle,
yeah.
Okay, see, I was Kramer. Wyndham Middle School. And because you go through Wyndham Middle School, what kind of sports were you playing back then, in middle school?
I played everything. I played basketball. I wrestled, football. I played a little bit of lacrosse too. I kind of dipped in everything, and then I kind of labeled down to wrestling, football.
So wrestling became your favorite, and football.
Well, football was actually my favorite.
Okay.
The only reason I wasn't a football player is because I'm not 6'2". So
now we had Coach Pros in here. Did you play for Coach Pros, or was that?
I didn't play
before?
for Coach Pros. I played for my dad, BG Baltazar, who's my dad.
Oh, that's right, Baltazar.
And then I played for Jay Glidden, Roy Ricks. And
Roy Ricks, I grew up with Roy.
That's the man right there. That's the guy. He's awesome, dude. And then I played for Kirk Jenkins as well.
Of course, I know Kirk very well. All right, so you liked football a little more than wrestling.
Yeah.
So, were you all state in any of these sports, football or wrestling? Or tell us how you got into wrestling. I assume starting in high school, right?
No, I started when I was 4.
You started wrestling when you're 4.
Yeah, I started football and football and wrestling at the same time.
Wow.
Little league, youth league, and then kind of just kept going and going. And then when I got to high school, I played my freshman year. I played ball my freshman year. I played JV and varsity, and then I just realized I was just too small to play where I was playing, and I just was like, all right, well, if I want to go to school for free or somewhat of a decent scholarship, and I don't want my parents to pay no money, so I just decided to just focus on wrestling.
Okay, so now we were talking about this. You didn't finish at Wyndham. You ended up going to LS Tech. Explain that whole situation and that scenario and why you went to LS Tech.
I wasn't really a classroom kid. Like, I was more of a hands-on kid. Like, I had so much ADHD, so I wasn't really good at sitting still. So that break of having to go to a shop and being able to be hands-on and learn with my hands, and then go to academics and stuff like that was a lot better for me than just to stay in a classroom for 8 hours of a day, because I wouldn't have paid attention. I know myself. And then the reason why it was Ellis and not Wyndham Tech was because Rafael Clixo, who was my youth coach all my life, was just he's pretty much my uncle. He's like my second dad.
Very well known in town. Of course, that's I grew up with Tara. That's Tara's husband, right? Tara Risley.
So I just decided, the best bet, and I think the thing that will keep me on track and keep me out of trouble was to go there. My dad wasn't too happy with it at first because he was a Wyndham head. So he was like,
that's
I want him to go Wyndham. I want him to go Wyndham. And it was just
Now, BG? I'm sorry to cut you off. BG and you call him Raph or
Raph,
do they get along?
Yeah, they're like I said, they should be married. That's how close.
That's right. That's what I was thinking of somebody else. So Raph wanted you to come to LS Tech, but your dad originally said, "No, I don't know yet," right?
Yeah, he wasn't sure. He wasn't, and then I explained to him it was it's not. It was about the wrestling, but it was more about being able to, if I didn't want to go to school, have an opportunity to have a career after and something that was going to make me a decent amount of money.
Got good people guiding you all around.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, wait, you didn't go any years at Wyndham. You started LS Tech as a freshman, right?
Yeah, 100% right off rep.
And at that point, you were really focused on wrestling when it came to sports, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so tell us a little about the LS Tech wrestling program, which, no disrespect, LS Tech. Being from Wyndham, we all know the history of the Wyndham wrestling program. What can you tell us about LS Tech and your experience there?
LS Tech was a builder program for sure. Originally, when I got there, before I got there, actually, it was going to get cut. Raph had saved the program and was going to take it over. So I was like, oh, that's great. So I could be part of a rebuilding process and be part of something, tremendous. Freshman year, we took kids that never wrestled a day in their life, and we're a 500 team.
Wow.
Which is really good if you don't know where you're getting the kids that we had on our team at their level at that moment. There were some studs, there's my drilling partners and stuff. There were studs, but they didn't really wrestle. So it was kind of a big development process. And then my second year, we got a little bit better. Went a little bit above 500. Then after that junior year, we started getting better. We were I think we took third or second in the class, and then my senior year as a team, we won it for the first class. We won Class M's.
Wow.
As a team. For the first tech school to ever win Class M's.
First tech school?
First tech
in
school.
Connecticut or just...
In Connecticut.
That's amazing.
And we won that, and then...
You were the captain, I'm assuming, or were you...
I was the captain at the time. It was two or three of us. Anthony Devaney, he lives in Danielson, Connecticut, and Cole Blair, he's actually... either he's in the Marines or he's a military guy now. He's from Danielson, Connecticut, too.
Fantastic. So
They're killing ways.
What a job senior year. You win the Class M, first tech school in Connecticut to win a Class M title and all that. Okay, so now you do that. It's time to graduate from LS Tech. What's going through your mind? What do you want to do? take us where JoJo is at that point.
I had 3 Division I offers.
3 Division I offers.
Yeah, it was West Point, which was the school I wanted to go to originally, because if I would have went there, I would have went to school for nothing. And then it was that, Edinburgh, Buffalo a little bit, and then there was one other school I completely.
Did you go on these tours and stuff? Or?
I got to go to Army. I didn't.
What was that like?
It was on the Hudson's insane.
West Point. I've never been there.
It was the most beautiful campus I've ever been on, and it was just phenomenal experience. I wish I would have been able to go. The coach actually that was recruiting me had resigned, so another coach stepped in, and he already had his roster of who he wanted. So I kind of got kicked off the boat.
Cross that off the list.
Yeah. So, but then Raph is an AIC alum, American International College up in Springfield, and that's where I did my undergrad. That's where I decided to go. Rich Hassenfist was my coach at the time for the 5 years I was there, and it was just going into that experience. It was another building team. I tell you, it was worse than LST Tech.
So this is AIC.
Yes, it was worse than LST Tech. Like the program should have been cut. Like we had more kids on the LST Tech team than we did at AIC.
So you were meant to be in these situations to help the other kids around you and stuff. Look at that.
I mean, I had the opportunity to go to some Division III schools around the area and to Division II schools, but I wanted to, in my mind, I was like, I loved the part of being, I never wanted to be handed anything. So, it was just, working for everything and having to know, no one can take that from you, you know what I mean? No one can ever, step in your way and be like, yeah, you were handed this. Or, some Division I schools, they get a lot more than Division II and Division III.
I literally just met this guy, not even a half hour ago, and I'm inspired by this 24-year-old guy. JoJo Gonzalez with us here, episode 64, Hometown Threads on WILI, Willam Mantic Today, Facebook, WILI Radio, YouTube, and, of course, Spectrum 192. So, at AIC, take us through the rest of the AIC thing.
It was
and then how you got to where you are now.
It was above your road. So we go back to the school thing. I had a 1.82 GPA my first semester in college. Barely got by eligibility-wise. If it wasn't for my coach, I wouldn't have gone through college. I probably would have flunked out. He helped me. He put me on a right track to get tutors. It wasn't that I was going out and partying. That wasn't it. I was never a kid like that. I was just I was focused so much on the wrestling part that I made it my first priority than school. And without school, you can't have wrestling. You can't have sports because you have to be eligible to play in college, which I never was worried about in high school because I was good in high school. I had a 3.2 GPA. I had a 12.90 in my SATs. I was good in high school. I didn't really have to try, it was not that hard. But college is different, so I had
whole different animal. Yeah.
Oh yeah, writing papers was not it. She could tell you I was not.
Gianna, the girlfriend here, you can say hi.
Hi.
You're a little shy. So you're okay. So you're doing that. You made it through. You got your grades up.
Got my grades up. I got a 3.0 the second semester.
Good for
you.
My
coach was extremely happy with me. My mom and my parents were extremely happy with me. And then the wrestling aspect of the thing was I told myself, I said, I have to make school my job and wrestling my hobby. I mean, I would spend my whole
great
life.
Words.
Yeah, so I just made school my job, and then wrestling, it just was, my fun. It was my getaway from school. And then when I entered the wrestling room, when I first went on my recruiting visit, we had 12 kids. I was like, okay, cool. We're coming in a room with a bunch of bodies. It's going to be great. Obviously going to build. We're not the toughest team, but we can work with it. Come in first day, there's 4 kids on the team. Second day.
Are you serious?
What maybe year is this? Maybe 5.
What year are you now at AIC? This is.
I'm done. I'm actually getting my master's.
No. When this is happening?
In my freshman year.
Okay.
So I had 5 kids on the team. 2 of them were my drilling partners. One of them was my roommate. Roommate left.
This is like something out of a movie.
Yeah,
oh my God!
It was a crazy. I wish I had. That's what I always told myself. I wish I had a camera for all this, because then I would have remembered every little detail.
You could write a book or do a documentary on this someday. I mean, I know you got this bright future in front of you, but think about that down the road. And you love to help people too. What a tremendous individual here. So, real quickly, I don't mean to jump because time is. I wish we could go an hour with you because we could go more than an hour, but. So you finished the AIC eventually, and how did the team do down the road later? Did it get better like LST Tech or?
It stayed. I mean, from what it was, we went from the worst team in the country, academic wise and wrestling wise, to I think tough competitive, respectable. When I went to nationals I'm a 4-time national qualifier. I'm a 3-time region champ, 3-time All-American. I was in national finals my last year of college. So,
my goodness gracious!
It was just literally what can you make out of the stuff that you have? Like, even though you don't have everything, what can you make out of it? And that's what I just said to myself. I'm going to be the best with what I have and try every day to be better and better and better.
Telling you, don't count. If you do the documentary someday, I want you're already on your way to serious fame here. Don't forget about us and me here in Willam Mantic.
No,
I want to be in the documentary.
The thing is with me, I never take out Willam Mantic. I always
I know.
Everybody know that I'm from where I'm from.
And that's where I saw the post in the most recent fight, which I want to get into as well, that you won. I saw well, everyone was posting. Of course, your mother and everyone was tagged. Angela, Tony's Pizza, you name it. Chris Grant. Chris Grant says hello, by the way. I just saw him about an hour. I saw him about an hour before the show. He says, oh, ask him about your faith. How's your faith, too? That's a question from Chris Grant.
Oh, it's good. It's good. I have the... Actually, it was a little rocky at first, but honestly, she was the one that really got me on track with that. Like,
amen.
And she was honestly, for her, honest to God, like I wouldn't be who I am. I changed completely from a year ago, the person I was, all because of her.
But anyway, so on Facebook, everyone, their mom from Willam Mantic, I'm like, I got to get down and see this guy. So JoJo, I'm like, JoJo won. Now we really got to get him on the show. And luckily, somebody, Fernando, by the way, is the one who, I think it was Fernando who got me your digit. I said, I need this guy's number so I can get in touch with him. So tell us, all right, so after AIC, who turns you out of the whole, the boxing thing?
The MMA thing?
I'm sorry, MMA.
The MMA
Keep calling it boxing.
Honestly, it was really like, my friends, you probably heard some stories about Andre and Julian.
Yeah.
They recently passed away and stuff like that. So they actually were a big reason why. They always said you should do it. And I was like, my dad was always super against it at first because he's like, you have your degree, like you have 2 degrees, like what do you need to go and get punched in the face for?
And you're going to get your master's now, right?
I'm finishing my master's.
Finishing his master's
next week at Springfield College.
Good for you. Okay, so go ahead.
So they got me really, like, the idea spinning in my head, and then when they passed, it just felt like something that I had to do and had to get into, not just for for them, but just for myself, because I had like this void after without wrestling. I didn't know who I was. I had a really tough time. Like, I have a good 2 months where I was kind of depressed. Like,
we all go through it.
It
man.
was horrible. I've never experienced it before. Like, I'm always a kid that's got a smile on his face and being a goofball, and she'll tell you that I don't stop talking ever. So it's just like it was really a dark time for me. I didn't know who I was. I felt like I had nothing. I felt like I was nobody without wrestling. I feel like no one's going to remember me, this, that, and the first. And my main goal as a kid was I wanted to be an impact on kids from where I'm from. You know what I mean? I'm not saying we're like from the worst area in the world, but like, how many kids get to say they made it through something, And so I just wanted to be that for them. And after wrestling, I just felt like I couldn't be that anymore. So another reason for me fighting was to show that you can do anything you can put your mind to. It doesn't matter how long you do it.
So were you a little nervous going from wrestling to MMA? I mean, they had to, people were telling you should try it, but what were you thinking? Like, okay, well, I've wrestled. Like, who had to show you the road of MMA and how to get into that and all?
Jeremy Libicheski, he was the one who got me into it. He's my current coach right now.
Okay.
He's honestly the most influential person I've ever met. He's a really down-to-earth guy. I go to his gym. I train there. He has I run classes there for him. I do everything for him because he has done everything for me in my journey. I wouldn't have this right here without him.
Is he from Willam Mantic?
No, he's from Springfield.
Okay.
He's from Massachusetts.
Okay.
But,
so he kind of introduced you to MMA.
Yeah.
And when was this? Like 3?
This was last 2 summers ago. So 2 years ago.
So 2 years ago.
So I've only been doing this for 2 years.
He's only been doing MMA for 2 years, and he's got a championship belt here, which was, again, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, right? Yeah. So how do you go about, and is there something in the works, like, how do you go about defending this now? Like, how's that all work?
So, honestly, with the amateurs, they don't really do defenses because they, it doesn't make any sense. That's what I've heard. But if I were to fight again for another, it'd just be another belt.
So this is yours for good?
Yeah, this is fine for good.
Okay, because I'm used to championship belt. I got to defend this now. Okay.
So I would get another belt.
If you get another belt?
Yeah, another one.
I'm sure you'll get many more, my friend.
I hope so.
So, okay, you're at the amateur level now of MMA. And I know I was asking this before. How many more steps till? Because you said your ultimate goal, you do want to do UFC.
Yeah.
How many more steps are you away from that?
Not too far. I mean, I'm thinking by the end of next year, like the end of this year, turning pro.
Wow.
So like we want to get like 3 or 4 more fights.
Willam Mantic, baby, right here.
We want to get 2 more. We want to get 2 local again, probably Mohegan again, and maybe Foxwoods. I don't know about Foxwood, but definitely Mohegan and probably Mohegan for twice, and then travel. Probably do some traveling, maybe New York or Philly or something.
You gotta be. First of all, you're so well spoken. Your mind for a 24-year-old, your mind is definitely on the right track. Gianna, great job. I know you've done a lot yourself as well.
My parents too.
Yeah, your
Mom
parents. Your
and
parents are wonderful. Say hi to Mom Jessica. I've never met her in person. Your dad, BG, Baltazar. They sound like great people. I'm sure. Hopefully, I'll get a chance to meet them down the road. This is so exciting. And so, real quick, because I know we're coming towards the end of the show. I told you before it's over. When will we know about another fight, and how will, like, if people? I'm sure so many people know they followed you with your fighting and all that. But if people want to go see you, how can they do that? And any news on when the next fight will be?
I'll post it on Facebook and my Instagram.
Well, people aren't okay, so they can follow you on Instagram.
Yeah.
I know you're tough to track down on Facebook.
Yeah.
We just became friends,
Yeah.
but is that where people like can anyone just follow you on Instagram as well too?
Yeah, I usually follow. I just follow everybody back if I know them. If not, my account.
What's your Insta handle?
Puerto Rican Stallion.
Puerto Rican Stallion. Go find him on Instagram. So that's how they could follow your updates, like if you got a fight coming up and all that.
Yeah, and then my mom will post it, and my mom will usually just ticket sales and stuff, and she'll send out the link on the Facebook page where you can go buy your tickets.
Okay, so your mom takes care of the ticket sales and all that.
Does, yeah.
Will I get a VIP seat for the next one?
I'm kidding. I'll get you one. I'll put one aside for you guys.
Press pass, maybe? I don't know. Oh, I wish we could go on and on. And Gianna, I know you're a little shy. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
JoJo, it's a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Don't go anywhere. We're going to get a picture with the bell. And
Yes,
let's just do this for the camera. It's the old standard. Gotta get the fist photo. All right, so that's gonna wrap it up. I wish we could go on and on, but we got the neighborhood coming in soon, so we gotta wrap this up. Episode 64 of Hometown Threads on 14 WILI 95.3 FM. Willam Mantic Today Facebook, Spectrum 192 on cable, WILI Radio YouTube channel. All brought to you by Liberty Bank, Be Community Kind, and of course the Hometown Threads podcast at WILI.com, brought to you by Triple E Pro Clean Services. Again, JoJo, Gianna, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Great to meet you guys and continued success. Thank you to J. Matt Rupar. And that'll wrap it up. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. In the words of the great Roddy McCumber,
bye for now, folks. Bye for now.
And that concludes another edition of Hometown Threads. Got a story for Keith? Reach out to him on Facebook by searching Keith C. Rice or email him at krice@hallradio.net. Don't forget to tune in next week on 14 WILI and 95.3 FM, as well as the Willam Mantic Today page on Facebook.